My name's Paul Major and I'm from English Voice Idiomas, and I'm going to be talking to you today about 5 idioms that are connected to technology. 5 tech idioms. The first one we're going to be talking about is it's not rocket science. What does that mean and where does it come from? It's not rocket science we use in the context, for example, this maths homework is so simple, it's not rocket science. Or this puzzle, this crossword puzzle is so simple, it's not rocket science, anybody can do it. The origin of this, it's from the Second World War, or post the Second World War. During the Second World War, the Germans had made such technological advances that they were way ahead of everybody else in terms of rocket engineering. So at the end of the Second World War, the Americans decided to take the best scientists from Germany over to the United States to set them up in their own laboratories so that they could really advance American rocket engineering. So much so that American rocket engineering became something that everybody wanted to work with. It was like the top of the top. So what happens? Everything else, in comparison, didn't seem as good. This is not rocket science. This is rocket science. This is way up here, but this job or activity is not rocket science. So everything else could be compared to that thing at the top, rocket science. That's the origin of it's not rocket science. The second expression we're going to be looking at is like clockwork, or alternatively, it runs like clockwork. How do we use it? For example, the Swiss railway is so efficient, it runs like clockwork. Or the new project for the company has just started, runs like clockwork. It's so precise, exact. Where does this come from? Well, originally in the mid-1700s, that's the mid-18th century, the first clocks emerged. The first real clockwork clocks, the ones that you could wind up, emerged. And they were so exact compared to every other time measurement that had gone before, like sun dials, the position of the sun during the day. These were so exact that they became a reference. Things ran like clockwork when they were very precise and they were very exact. That's the meaning of like clockwork, or it runs like clockwork. The third idiom that we're going to look at, it was a bit of a surprise for me. I will explain why. We're going to look at to pull the plug. What is the meaning of to pull the plug? To pull the plug, we use, for example, the company pulled the plug on the latest project because it was costing too much money. Or Netflix pulled the plug on my favourite series, in the middle of it. Where does this come from? Well, this is the surprise. I always thought that to pull the plug was to pull the plug from an electronic device, boom, to take it from the wall. But no. The origin of this phrase is actually from the plug in a sink or a bath. You pull the plug, and the water disappears. So the bath, or whatever activity you're doing in the bath or sink, finishes. So when you pull the plug, it stops. The fourth idiom that we're going to be looking at is to click with someone. What does it mean to click with someone? Well, we use to click with someone, for example, in the context, I really clicked with my friend's sister. Or, for example, the two new colleagues started working together and they just clicked straight away. They really got on well and really worked well together. The origin of this phrase is from the Dutch language, the verb klikken. What does klikken mean? It means to fit well together. So we could say when colleagues work well together or people become friends, they click, they fit well together. Yeah, that's to click with someone. And the last one we're going to look at is to blow a fuse. What is the meaning of to blow a fuse? Well, we use to blow a fuse, for example, my partner blew a fuse when I got home late last night. She exploded, or she really lost her temper. Or my boss blew a fuse when I arrived late for the third time that week. Meaning my boss, he or she, lost their temper, exploded. This is the meaning of to blow a fuse, to explode, to lose your temper. Where does it come from? Well, an electronic circuit board, what happens is when the electricity is too powerful, the electronic circuit board blows a fuse, meaning it melts or explodes. That is the meaning to blow a fuse, and that's why we use it when someone explodes or really loses their temper. I hope this has explained the 5 idioms for you today nicely. Please tune in for some more. Thank you very much indeed.